Hi there and welcome to Claremont Swimming Pool. My name's Paul Newsome, head coach of Swim Smooth. I'm here today to take you through using the brand new SwimSense watch made by Finis. Back in 2006, I got quite excited about my own triathlon training with the advent of power meters on the cycling market. This was a new way of actually recording data for my cycling to show whether or not I was actually improving with my power and therefore improving my speed and general performance on the bike. I thought this was a great way to actually endorse and develop on the way that I'd actually done sports science at university to actually monitor and analyse my improvement over time. For the last 4 or 5 years, I suppose, I've actually been waiting for something in the swimming market to come onto the market there, which will actually do a similar sort of thing to help me analyse and improve my swimming data. Here we have the Finis SwimSense watch then. What I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to do a couple of 100 metres, getting some data from the watch and then showing you just how easy it is to get that data off the watch, download it onto your computer, analyse that data and also see how you might use it over a longer period of time to monitor your performance and see how you're going along. The watch itself is super easy to use. I'll just quickly show you a couple of things here. On the watch itself, on the watch face, we have 4 buttons. If you just want to go straight away to swimming, you'd simply press the top left button here, which would take you onto the default screen to get you started. And from there, all I need to press then is the top right hand button to swim, and away I go. The way the watch is designed is very clever indeed. The watch has been designed with accelerometers in there to intelligently detect whether or not you're actually doing a lap on the way down or you turned around and come back. So the watch itself records how many laps you've done, how many strokes you've taken per lap, even calculates how many strokes per minute you've been taking, so you can actively analyze your freestyle stroke once you've downloaded this onto the computer there. Now, if we just go back out of that screen, we can see the top right and the top bottom right buttons. We have 2 little arrows here, so we can just scroll through the various options that you have. Obviously, the first one there being swimming. Second one, if you just want to use the watch as a chronometer or a stopwatch, you can use that. You have your histories of workouts to go through, which obviously you can look through on the watch, but probably better to look through on the computer later on. You can configure the watch, such as whether or not you're swimming in a 50 metre or 50 yard pool, a 25 yard or a 20 metre pool, etc. Also, which wrist you're actually going to wear the watch on, and that's very important to get right. So for me, I like to wear my watch on my left hand, hence I've actually configured the watch to register that for the left hand there. And then obviously the option to power off. The Finis SwimSense watch is usually good for around about 4 hours of consecutive recording, or if you're actually just leaving it in your bag, it will hold charge for around about 10 or 12 hours. So it's a good idea after each swim session to get home, download the data and then leave the watch plugged in so it's fully charged, and then you power it down so that when you go for your next swim, it's ready to rock and roll. Okay, so let's just exit out of here. I'll pop it on my hand. Nice and snug. The profile of the watch is also quite nice, especially for fairly lean athletes, I suppose, with the profile being not too bulky, so it shouldn't feel like it's interfering with your swimming at all. Okay, here we go. So I just go to the screen, swim, and then as soon as I'm ready to set off, I can press start here. Now at the end of each interval, say for example I was doing 15 100s, I could press the lap button at the end of each 100 metres, and then what the watch will do is it will recognise that I'm actually paused at that point. The screen itself will go black with white lettering on there, so it's like the inverse basically to show you it's in the pause mode, and then when I set off again I can press the start again. What I prefer to do personally though is actually just leave the watch running for the entire session and then analyse and pick out those data points when I've actually finished the session. So it's quite an easy way of actually doing that, and you don't have to worry about pressing too many buttons, etc. For me, really, this watch is all about downloading the data and analysing it after the session, as opposed to really keeping an eye on it during the session, because chances are you probably spend more time looking at the data during the session rather than actually getting on with the swimming, which is what it's all about, right? Okay, so here we go. I'm going to set off now. I'm going to do 200 metres with the watch on, and then we're going to jump out and show you how easy it is to actually download it onto your computer and take it from there. Okay, here we go. There we go, all done and dusted. Around about 2 minutes 45 for that 200. Let's jump out now and see the data on the computer screen. So here we are now, sat down at the computer obviously, and I'm going to take you through the simple process of actually downloading the SwimSense watch so you can literally make sense out of your swim session and see what you're looking for in terms of trying to improve your stroke and log your data over a period of time. It's very, very easy to do. One of the things that I also failed to mention there, I suppose, in the intro was that what's really nice about the Finis SwimSense watch is that it will also automatically detect whether you're doing butterfly, backstroke, breaststroke or freestyle. So when you download that, obviously my 200 metre swim there was just freestyle, and the majority of the triathletes that I'm coaching will probably only be swimming freestyle. But if you are a master swimmer and you like to vary things up a little bit with a bit of IM, the watch will automatically record that without you having to actually input that particular data in there. So it's pretty intelligent. Okay, so here we go. Now, probably first things first. Let's bring up the internet here. So using Google Chrome. The first thing you'll probably want to do is actually just tap into your browser swimsense.com. So it brings you up to this this registration page here. It tells you a little bit about the Finis SwimSense watch. You can even watch this little promo video clip here about the watch itself. Now, if we just probably the first thing you want to do with this is actually register for an account. So up on the top here, we're actually currently logged in, but if you were to register your account, you'd bring up a screen such as this, and just a basic information about yourself. You set up your user ID, typically your email, and then pop in a password, the usual sort of things for registering anything like this. From here, you can actually just click on here to actually view an overview of the key training log features for the watch, and that's probably worthwhile just having a little look through. The nice thing about the training log, I suppose, is that this all happens online. It's not a desktop piece of software that you use, so you need to be logged into the internet to actually use it. But the membership pricing is, as you can see here, free. You can monitor your performance over time, monitor your workouts, history, set goals for yourself, etc., etc. What I really like about the Finis SwimSense watch is its ability to integrate with Training Peaks. Now, I'm going to show you through that in a little bit later on, but for some of you using a power meter on the bike or a Garmin computer for your running, etc., this really helps to bring in that whole picture together about how your swim, cycle and run, how you sort of benefit and progress over time, and actually log that data. So probably some of you out there are only logging at the moment your cycling and running. Now with the Finis SwimSense watch, you can also log your swimming, so it completes that whole picture. Now once you've actually registered for the account, then just on here, it will email you over your details, and you can see we've just created a bit of a dummy account there. And the very first thing that you need to do once you've actually created that account is just go here, which is the SwimSense bridge. Now the SwimSense bridge is basically what allows the watch to actually communicate and talk to the computer. I'm obviously using here a Macintosh, Apple Mac computer here. It's the same sort of process that you'll go through for if you're using a PC, etc. Okay, would you like to open or save this file? I'll open this file here. I'd like to install and just go through the basic thing, just keep pressing continue, etc. SwimSense Bridge is an application downloaded from the internet. You sure you want to open it? Yes, we trust the site. And this is basically what we go through. Just agree to the software conditions. Please enter your username and password. Now what I'll do is I'll actually bring up username and password here, and authenticate. Now, internet's available, it's showing that I'm actually logged in, but it's showing that the device is not yet connected. So for that, it actually plugs into a USB port, so any USB port will do. We have the little docking station, as it were. We can see the Finis brand name there, and also these two prongs just either side. If we look on the back of the watch there, you can see where those actually line up to. So make sure you're actually keeping the watch in line with that one, so not upside down, just like so. Plug that in, and immediately it says connected to USB and charging. And just up on your computer screen here, it'll just show that it's actually registered. So I'm just going to log it into there. And there we go. It's actually just now showing as a storage file on the desktop there, SwimSense. Okay, and that's all good. So let's just bring that down for the moment. Okay, and now as we can see straight away, this is what I really like about the watch. It's just very, very simple to set up. There's no issues with like serial ports and those sort of things. Using the USB port, it instantly recognises whether it's connected or not. And there we have the date, so the 21st of April 2011, just before 10 o'clock in the morning. My distance, which I've just swum there, 200 metres, already uploaded. Now you can even publish it to Facebook when that option becomes available. So it's now uploaded. Okay, and what we can do is we can basically go to log into our SwimSense dashboard. So just basically go back to swimsense.com, go to your account, log in, and then if we just click up on the top here, the default page that it opens into is this dashboard, which is like I suppose a global overview of what we've done. But what we really want to do is we want to go to uploaded workouts, and there we can see the workout as it's being uploaded. So just by clicking on this, average pace there 1 minute 25 per 100 meters, average stroke 20, so that's actually 40 strokes counting left and right arm per 50 meters. Okay, and here we have our data. Now obviously I've only done 200 meters there in a time of apparently 2 minutes 49 that's from start to finish, the time I finished for watch. And as we can see, we probably had about 5 seconds just before we pressed the button at the end, but all the 50s recorded in around about 41 seconds there. Now if we just scroll down to the bottom, this is what we can do. We can actually go to the click on the CSV file down the bottom, and what's nice about this is it will just give you a complete breakdown of lap by lap what you've done. So we'll just wait for this to come up. Here we go. Okay, so we have 4 laps here. The interval type, the duration for each lap, so 41 seconds and so on. The distance 50 meters, because I've obviously plugged that into the watch so it recognizes that. Swimming at a pace here of 1 minute 23 or 1 minute 22 per 100 meters. So obviously we've got that last little part looking as a bit of an anomaly. We haven't slowed down that significantly down the lap, but it's just the time it takes for you to obviously stand up, press the button, etc. When we download and have a look at in Training Peaks, we'll actually see a nice smooth graphing of that. Stroke count, so this is a number of strokes or stroke cycles I've taken over the course of the 50 meters. So on the first lap, 20 stroke cycles, or 40 strokes basically. 42, 42, and then 40 on that last one. SWOLF score, this is basically, some of you might have tried the exercise typically called swim golf. They've just abbreviated here to SWOLF, which is basically a combination of the time it takes you to complete the lap and the number of stroke cycles. So for example, on this lap here, it's taken me 41 seconds, I've done it in 20 stroke cycles, my SWOLF score is 61. The general idea there is for that, supposedly for that SWOLF score, the lower it is, the more efficient your stroke. Now there are caveats which we explain on the SwimSmooth website around this, but it gives you a general idea of how you've completed for that. DPS, so that's distance per stroke. Now that's 2.5 meters there. Now that's not 2.5 meters per arm stroke, that's 2.5 meters per stroke cycle. Otherwise I wouldn't be doing very, very well with that. My stroke rate here, it's showing on that first lap, I suppose swimming at probably around about 58 strokes per minute. So the cycle time which you see here, that's the time difference between, or the time it takes to do a complete stroke cycle. So the average on that one, around about 58. Now you'll notice that my stroke rate actually increases here because the time it takes to complete stroke cycle decreases. What you may or may not have picked up from the video clip is how I actually changed my stroke over the course of that 200. I went from a very much a dominant 6-beat leg kick on the first lap to more of a 2-beat, steadier state rhythm on the second and third and fourth laps. To compensate for that, I elevated my stroke rate up a little bit, okay, and hence you can see that information there. Okay, so that's all the data being downloaded, which is good. Now if we just go to have a little look on here. Okay, so this is our sort of summary page, and when you've got a little bit more information in there, it'll come up with these graphs and charts to sort of show how you've been going. Now, let's assume I've been swimming for 3,000 metres, so a course of a whole session. Well, we'd have a little bit more information about there. My average stroke count per lap works out at 21 strokes or 42 strokes per lap there. We've got the pacing thing here, which is somewhere around about 84 seconds per 100, so around about 1 minute 24 per 100 metres. We've got the stroke count over time. So again, just under 21, very similar to this one over here. We've got the SWOLF score, which, as we saw beforehand, is 63 on the scale of that. We've also got now the comparison here. We've got seconds per stroke, basically, which is my stroke rate. This little red blob here. So just under 2 seconds per stroke cycle. So that probably equates to around about 64 or 65 strokes per minute, if you're thinking in cadence terms. Distance per stroke there, average around about 2.4 meters. So it would actually be 1.2 meters per stroke. Now, what I really like about this is you can actually go into the settings on the SwimSense dashboard site, go into your account here, update your account, and if we just bring this up, we can go into this little part, and obviously you can change all your details here, etc. Log references. Now, one of the things that really sets this watch apart really is its integration with Training Peaks. Now, some of you might not know what Training Peaks is, but essentially it's an online database where you can actually log your training. So if you have data files coming off your power meter, or if you have data files coming off a Garmin computer for your running, etc., this is an easy way of actually logging all of that data together. Now, Training Peaks has got some sophisticated data analysis software which is linked to it. It's a computer package which actually you can download and pay for to actually sit on your desktop, called WKO Plus, or Training Peaks, and you can actually analyse your data and graph your training session over time. We're just going to have a quick look at both the free version of that by registering for a Training Peaks account, and then also if you wanted to upgrade and maybe even use the software application that will download onto your desktop, then we can see that as well. So all you need to do here is you need to just pop in your username and your password, and then validate that, and the SwimSense login area will go through that, and it's all very, very easy. I've already done that, so I'm already in there. Now if we just go back to my uploaded workouts, we'll go to this one here, and when we scroll down the bottom, the nice thing about this is if you've configured that, if we look down at TP down the bottom here, it says this workout has been exported to Training Peaks. So we haven't had to do anything, it's just automatically already downloaded it to Training Peaks, which I think is really, really very, very good. So, Training Peaks. We go to trainingpeaks.com. You register or sign up for free here to create an account, and there are obviously payable accounts there, but for the purpose of this we can create a free account and go from there. It just sort of restricts some of the data analysis that you can do, but see how you go with it on the free version to start off with. So username, password, and it'll bring up my little screen here. Now, in true Blue Peter fashion, for those of you from the UK, here's a couple that we prepared earlier. Now, I've been using this SwimSense watch over the last couple of weeks just to sort of check the data analysis of a range of different swimmers, and I just want to show or share with you the data files from 2 of my swimmers from my squad session. One is a lady called Anne. She's a fairly new swimmer and training up for her first Ironman distance event. She swims around about the 24-25 minute marker for a kilometre. We actually have her partner, Matt, who's been to 3 Olympic Games, Matt Illingworth in fact, has been to 3 Olympic Games for cycling, track cycling, and is now trying his hand at Ironman racing and doing very, very well indeed, recording some of the fastest times in the world ever for the bike. Now, given Matt's background with high-level time trialling, one of the things that I like to analyse over somebody doing a sustained effort is how good they are at maintaining pace and also maintaining things such as stroke length and stroke rate. Because at the end of the day, when we're doing an endurance-based event, we want a pretty horizontal flat line. So Matt's data, when we just bring it up here, is actually quite boring to look at because it's actually a flat line. So if we just look at it here, so by clicking on his little file here, you can see that he swam 400 metres in just under 7 minutes. It was a fairly steady swim for him. That's an average pace of 1 minute 44 per 100. If we just go down to the bottom here, it says Swim Smooth, and this is the actual file name. Now, in a moment, we can actually download that file, but for the purpose of actually just utilising this free software to our best of our capability, let's just view this file by clicking on here. Just give it 2 seconds to actually load up. Now, this is Matt's graph. Now, as you can see, it's a very, very horizontal line. We've got a speed line up the top here, okay, which again we can see this is the time into the interval, so 2 minutes 35 into the interval, and his speed there at that point 105 seconds per 100 meters, so 1 minute 45 per 100. So the blue line is his speed line, and he's swimming at a steady state, so we would hope that he could consistently hold this pace. One of the biggest thing holding swimmers and cyclists and runners back, I suppose, from really exceeding at the top level of endurance-based events is being able to consistently hold a good pace. And we can see here with the blue line that over 400 meters at a steady state, Matt's done very, very well with that. If we drop down to the yellow line, this is how consistent Matt has been at maintaining his cadence or his stroke rate. Now, what Training Peaks does, which I really like, is that it actually converts the time per cycle to actual cadence. So if you're utilising a cadence meter on your bicycle, that gives us the same sort of reading there. Now, 32 RPM or 32 strokes per minute, remember that's the count of right arm, left arm, so that being a count of 1. Many references on the internet, including our own website, would actually report that as 64 strokes per minute, not 32 strokes per minute. So it's just about understanding, exactly what the data you're looking at. Now, if we look at a few points along that stroke rate line, 32 here at the start, 32 halfway through the interval. He picks up his stroke rate just a fraction there towards the end, 34 strokes per minute, so 68 strokes per minute, and then it drops off again to 33. So a pretty good effort from Matt there. Now, if we just go back to if we just go back into the file. Okay. Now, looking in here then, this was Matt's file. We'll now look at Matt's partner Anne's file and see if we can see any sort of differences in terms of how she's actually approached that effort, and more importantly, what conclusions we can draw from the analysis of her file. Now, she swam just over 1,000 meters, in fact, including just a little cool down lap. Her time for that distance was 25 minutes. Okay, average speed is around about 146 seconds per 100 meters, so 2 minutes 26 per 100. Okay, as we can see just down here. Now, if we look at Anne's device, we can download that file, or we can simply view the file. Let's view the file. Okay, so here we can see Anne's file. Now, it's a completely different story to Matt's. We can see here, if we just ignore this first 50 meters, because there seems to be some slight bit of erroneous data in there. If we have a little look at the speed file, so we see that Anne starts off here at a pace of 1 minute 142 seconds per 100 meters, so that's the equivalent of 2 minutes and 22. I'd instructed Anne to do a 1,000 meter time trial and tried to pace it out as best she possibly could. Now, by the end of the swim, she's actually swimming more like 153 seconds, so it's dropped down from 2 minutes and 22 or 23 there, down to around about 2 minutes and 33, and even on the last lap, really dropping down quite significantly to just over 2 minutes and 45 seconds there per 100 meters. So whereas we saw with Matt a very flat line, horizontal line there, we can see that there's certainly some pacing issues going on with Anne's file. Now, the blue line, obviously the speed line, shows that quite interestingly, but what's really nice about the Finis SwimSense watch is how it records stroke rate over time. Now, let's have a little look here. On Anne's first lap, she set off with a cadence or stroke rate of 54 strokes per minute. And as we can see, this jaggedy line is dropping up and down all over the place. Now, what it's simply showing, as I analyse this, is that Anne is struggling to find a consistent rhythm and rate within her stroke, and that's certainly something which she knows personally that she needs to work on. So we go from sort of 54 strokes per minute all the way up to 64 strokes per minute, and we have this jaggedy line showing that lack of consistency within her swimming. So what we can do with this swimmer, we use on the pool deck, we actually use a product called the Chronometer, which is a great way for that swimmer of actually being able to stick to a consistent rate. if I wanted Anne, for example, from this to hold a halfway house between the two, so let's say 57 or 58 strokes per minute, I can pre-program the metronome to actually beep every 57 or 58 strokes per minute, and all Anne has to do is make sure that her hands enter into the water on each beep. What this will do is it will mean that she won't be setting off quite so steadily, okay, but she'll actually try and have a much more of a flat line through the centre here, as opposed to sort of shortening up her stroke and really increasing that stroke rate as she starts to fatigue. And many of you fairly new swimmers to swimming, that's probably how you'll actually be swimming. The first couple of laps will probably feel nice and smooth, but then as you start to get more fatigued, you maybe start to fight the water and rush through your strokes, etc. So it's all about balance, and as we can see with Matt, nice flat line, which is what we want for a timed swim. With Anne, much more jaggedy all over the place there. Jaggedy, nice word. Okay, so let's just go back to Matt's file and show you what you would do if you had a copy of Training Peaks WKO Plus on your desktop. Now this, I believe, retails for around about $99 US. Many of you, if you're already downloading your cycling data from a power meter and also data from a Garmin for your running, you might even already have this installed. And certainly one of the key advantages of being able to analyze your swimming data now is for any of you using the Performance Manager on Training Peaks or WKO Plus to actually analyze how much training stress you create over the course of a day, a week, a month, etc. To analyze your performance and how you're actually approaching your training. This all sort of really completes that picture. So how would we do this? Well, what we'd do is we'd open up Matt's file, and rather than actually viewing the file, we'd simply download that file. Okay, now this is downloaded already. It's a very small file, so you can expect these files to download very, very quickly. And it's been downloaded into my download folder. So if we just minimize this. Now, like I said, I'm using a MacBook Pro here, but I'm also running Parallels on here, so it allows me to use PC-based software applications such as Training Peaks WKO Plus to analyze my data and make use of the PC facilities. So if we bring up WKO Plus here, and we just obviously this is Matt Illingworth's training session, but it doesn't really matter, we can actually just plug it into my own here. Now if we go to my downloads folder, open that up, and we just find our file here, which was this one. You can see that by the date, so that was taken on the 7th of April 2011. This is Matt's file. Now we can simply drag and drop this into Training Peaks, select an athlete at the top, so we're putting this under my name, and we can save that file, and bosh, it's as simple as that, it's straight into there. So now if we actually select this file, we can't see too much data here at the moment. Okay, we haven't got any heart rate data because the Finis SwimSense watch doesn't record that, but if we go into the graph and we just increase this a little bit, we can analyze this data a little bit more effectively. So I'm just highlighting that whole region there. We can see in the green line now, this is our strokes per minute, so we can sort of see how relatively stable and consistent Matt was. It does start to increase towards the end, so maybe he was dropping off, starting to rush through his stroke a little bit. But if we have a little look at the blue line here, at the moment this is in miles per hour, which really as a swim check for a swim element, I suppose, it probably doesn't make too much sense. So let's just, by double clicking somewhere on here, okay, somewhere on the miles per hour thing, we can actually just use the drop down and bring that to minutes per kilometre, or you might be thinking still in miles, so minutes per mile, but let's go minutes per kilometre, and let's just change that. So as we can see, again, if I just highlight the whole sequence there, the blue line here is just equating to around about 17 minutes per kilometre, which is the pace that Matt was swimming for that distance. Now, the benefit of actually having WKO Plus, I suppose, with analysing this is obviously, again, it stores it all as part of your little journal, and you can go through it. But one of the things that some of you might be using, like I said before, is the ability to actually download your power meter for your bike, your Garmin training meter for your running, and then have your SwimSense Finis watch actually download your swimming data as well. And by implementing your normalized pace, which is now a feature in WK Plus for your swimming. So for example, normalized pace might be the equivalent of what we call CSS in Swim Smooth land. That's basically your sustainable threshold pace over a given period of time. You can calculate that by going to swimsmooth.com/training and putting in data for a 400-meter time trial and a 200-meter time trial. Once you have that average pace, come into Training Peaks, input that data, and what this will then do is actually show you how much training stress you've actually created by doing that particular swim session. Once you've done that, you'll be able to go into your performance manager and actually log all of that over the course of a period of time, and so you'll be able to actually get a fuller picture of all the data that you've been collecting over time. So for those of you who like numbers, myself included, and like to know that the training that you're doing or the training that your athletes are doing is making improvements, and also how to actually adjust based on what the data you're getting through, then Training Peaks WK Plus is a nice complement to what you're doing from there. Equally, you can just use Training Peaks online as a free account, or if you prefer to keep things super simple, then just download your data from the SwimSense onto the SwimSense login page and just log all your data from there. It's a very simple way of doing it, but like I say, the integration really is the standout feature. The integration with Training Peaks is a standout feature for this watch, because like I say, for so many years now, I've actually been waiting for a watch to come along which will actually analyze your data, or record your data rather, be able to download it and have it all in one place. So you've got your swimming, cycling, running, they're all in one place to be able to analyze your data and make sure that the volume of training and the intensity of your training that you're doing is going to be sufficient enough, and not more importantly, not overcooking things enough to make sure that you're actually on the right track for moving forwards and getting the most bang for your training buck, as it were. So there we go, the Finis SwimSense watch, an excellent piece of equipment, downloadable, or available from swimsmooth.com now.